Beetle Beetle. This is Jeremiah Hill, general manager of the Memphis Grizzlies, and I am interviewing Charles Barkley, who's back after his summer hiatus, and we're gonna ask him a couple questions about his team, what he thinks about current hot topics in the league, and the overall just stuff about his team in general. All right, Mr. Barkley,
First
let's.
of all, my opening statement is it's dun dun and it's called hot takes. So grab your mittens, wear some shorts because it's about to heat up. Nothing but hot takes in here.
Shake and bake.
You
All
do what
right.
you want when you're popping.
So, what do you make of your team right now? You got sort of some holes, I guess, on
What
your
do I
roster.
make with my team? How to put this? Well, my team is a victim of rape. Best way to explain it. They're pretty. They're good. Pretty confident. Improvements. What the fuck was that, Jay?
I'm dying. It's fine.
Yeah.
There it is.
Anyways, my team's pretty in a rough position because right now I can't make any trades because in order for me to make trades I would need to send out 120% or get back 120%, and I just don't have movable contracts. Like
Eh,
Love, Matthews, and Rose take up more than half of my cap space. And if I'm going to trade anybody, then it comes down to like trading like people like James Young, T.J. Warren, Yusuf Nurkic, Inglis, Singler,
and you're
and I'm
not
not
doing
sure.
that.
Yeah, not for some, you know, like I'm not going to roll up 5 rookie contracts just to get a 2 year, 75 rated guy. It's not worth it.
Okay. So, where do you see the future on your team as far as Derrick Rose?
Derrick Rose, um,
Hmm.
well, I envision re-signing him if possible. I have his bird rights. I don't plan on paying him a lot of money. I imagine somebody will probably offer a lot of money for him, and I won't get him.
Okay. But if he's willing to come back on sort of a value like 3 year, $10 million deal or something like that,
Yeah,
or
taking him. He's a
yeah.
quality point guard.
All right. What about Kevin Love? You're definitely getting him back. You like him a lot.
Yep, stretch 4 fits the prototype. Got to get him back. Don't have his
And,
bird rights, though. Gonna be tough.
but you do have a lot of cap room, given that most of your team is made up of guys still on their rookie deals.
Yep.
So you can offer him that max, and then have enough left over to re-sign Derrick Rose, and then maybe get an extra guy to
Yeah.
plug in.
If the
But
cap goes up 15 million like it's projected, I will have 50 million in cap space.
that
I could realistically sign Kevin Love to a 20
you cut out.
left over, and I'd have Derrick Rose to sign with his bird rights. So yeah, I'm looking to add that third piece, build around Giannis.
So you're also sort of focusing a little bit on getting following your players and making sure that they're developing, and then maybe moving a guy that isn't coming along the way you thought they would. But so far, T.J. Warren and Jusuf Nurkic both look freaking really good, and
Nurkic's
RJ,
been hurt. I don't know why he's not hurt in the sim. He's been hurt in real life.
get on it, Ian. Um,
Yeah. People over here worry about rookie rating scale. Can't get injuries right.
that's another thing we wanted to bring up because I mean, last year I know you spent a lot of time working on the rookie ratings, and I know that there's sort of there was a couple ideas, and I think they got the rookie ratings right this year. if anything, we probably could have started them higher than we did last, or as high as we did last year, just because I think this class is that much better.
I think this class is better in the sense that it's going to have more all stars, but not a lot of franchise changing potential players. But
Uh,
who knows? You never know with these things.
yeah, I mean, it's
But
just as
yeah,
likely RJ Hunter turns into Clay Thompson. I mean, you never know.
as far as the rookie ratings go, even if you know you just assign the first pick gets an 80 and you go down to the 64th pick or the 60th pick and they get a 40 or whatever, you're still it's still biased as to what GM in real life picked in what order or
He's cutting out again.
so it's always going to be biased.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like how when you add, say we're drafting again and Draymond Green comes into the league, we're only going to rate that guy what a 35th overall pick is going to get rated, which is
Yeah,
70, 68, something like that. I mean, it,
maybe plus or minus a couple depending on their NBA readiness or if they have a tangible asset that will translate well. Like RJ Hunter, he could shoot,
mm,
so you knew at the end of the day, if all else fails, he's a spot up corner three guy. So you can
yeah,
still pencil him in as what he is 67. Not yet proven, still has work to do. Excuse me, but can shoot, which is
okay.
what he should have been.
All right. Now, you had a
Where no, where people where the rookies get a lot more points is their athleticism. Like Karl Anthony Towns gets more points because he's more athletic. Things like that.
mhm. Like when Wiggins was rated very highly, most of his points were in his athleticism because that was something that we literally knew he could do.
Yeah, it's something that you can actually see. It doesn't necessarily translate well into the sim, but it just looks good next to his name, and people don't understand that that doesn't really mean a lot at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Just as long as that they perform the way they should perform. Like Evan Fournier is a 74, but at the same time, if you go in and you look at what his shooting is, it's not a 74. But what he's doing on the floor is he's shooting. That's what he should be doing. So he's playing above a 74, but he's valued as a 74.
Okay. All right. Now, um, you had a decent sized post over in the general discussion or the media center area about the player options.
Yeah, I didn't listen to that podcast. I didn't read anything in that forum. I was just told I need to go make a comment about it, so I did.
All right. So what you sort of had the same idea I think that I had was that if
The second year player option is in there for them to opt out because cap's going up. They're going to take more money. It's what it's there for. It's what it's used for. It's what it needs to be used for. It's
not,
just a plain simple truth, some facts, the hot take on it.
I mean,
Hope you got that with the oven mitt.
the the because the overall idea, but when we went into free agency, was that a lot of players would be doing this because it was sort of advertised on ESPN, like, look what all these players are going to do, and it
Mm-hmm.
didn't. It didn't happen at all, but we
No,
did.
Kevin Love. If it was going to happen in real life, Kevin Love would have taken the 1 year option. Things like that would have happened, but it didn't happen that way because they valued long term security. Now, however, we proved this offseason that this league, when it comes to free agency, no longer mimics what goes on in real life. So we can't sit there one off season and have it not mimic it, and then the next season have it mimic it. We need consistency. And if there's not going to be consistency, then what's the point?
Okay. So what you're saying is we need to take a hard line in terms of either make it totally try and mimic
Make
as
it,
much as you
yeah,
can, as much as
or
you
don't
possibly
do it at
can,
all.
or just whoever offers the most money. Period.
No, not necessarily offers the most money, period, but just either it's got to be either it's either our free agency needs to mimic player personalities in real life, or
Don't do it at all.
don't do it at all. You can't have some player agents doing it and not the others. You can't have it. You can't half-ass it. You need to go all the way or none of the way.
Okay.
And the the player options are in there to opt out to get money. Like there's no reason if someone like Evan Fournier has a second year player option. I don't know if he was signed or not, but if he performs better than how he performed previously, he should opt out of 7 million and go get paid more. 12 million, 15 million. Who knows what he'll get, but he'll get more than 7.
And then the
And
only
that goes
players.
with almost every player that has a second year player option now. If they don't get hurt and they perform well or better than the previous year that earned them that contract, they need to opt out and get more money. It's what you would do in any other situation in real life. It's what happens all the time. It's just the way it works.
Yeah, I mean,
And to see it as anything other than that is just, I don't know, just moronic,
I
really.
mean, like if you think about it, a few years ago when Tim Duncan signed his contract with San Antonio, if he'd had a player option in there, he would have opted out and then got another contract. Even
Yeah,
if he's never leaving San Antonio, he's still going to do that.
yeah, you still need to get your money, or else there's no point of having a collective bargaining agreement. It's like LeBron did. He had never been the top paid player on a team until when he came back to Cleveland, and he said, "That's what I want to be." He signed the 1+1 contract. He opts out. He opts out to keep getting paid, to keep getting more money, and that's just the way it needs to be. You need to get paid for what you are. You can't be walking around, as a 90 overall player making 18 million when you got an 86 out there is making 22. You need to
Okay.
opt out and get paid. It's how it has to be, or else there's just no point.
So, what would your opinion be on instituting a max contract number? Maybe not necessarily like the scale, like veteran scale and stuff like they do in real life, but like say, all right, here's the max contract in real life. This is what our max contract's going to be in D5 to prevent situations where previously
Someone
where
gets
like
offered 100 million a year.
yeah, well, like for example, the contract that Josh Smith ended up getting signed to,
Yeah,
that's entirely unrealistic money. In the same way that even the DeMarcus Cousins contract is unrealistic money for the year that he signed it.
yeah. You need realism in the amount of money that you're going to pay players, and you need realism in the fact that they need to opt out.
Okay. The only people I could see like opting in would be guys like J.J. Hickson, like Kevin Garnett, if he decides to not retire, like
I
he'll
could
opt
see
into
Mark
that.
Gasol opting in if he doesn't have as good a year as he did last year. Anybody, just look at the stats. If their stats were better than they were last year, they opt out. If they got hurt, they opt in. If they played worse or performed worse, they opt in. Keep getting paid. It's it's
Exactly.
it's cut and dry. It really is.
Because any agent
You're as an agent
of
in
a player,
acting, in sports, in anything is to get your client the most money, make them happiest as possible. And 90% of the time, that equates to getting paid the most. We saw Carmelo Anthony take that extra year with the shitty Knicks team just for the money. Could have went anywhere else, made this almost the same amount of money per year, but that extra year of financial security. So why not opt out, sign another 5 year deal, and get more money? Get more
okay,
money.
all right. Now, so
Now the problem with that is that you have perpetual second year player options in every contract.
yeah, I
Like you
don't think
could
that
see
GMs are
people
going to start
opting out.
offering those again because that is just outrageous.
Well, here's what needs to happen, okay? Because if they all don't opt out to get paid more, then I'm trying to think how to word this. All right, so DeMarcus Cousins gets paid 24 million next season. He
Hmm.
performs better. He should opt out to try to get more than 24.6975 million dollars. He should try to get more than that. And he will get more than that. But the problem becomes then these guys are going to opt out if they have a second year contract if they perform better. So the player agents and the players are betting on themselves to perform better. That's why they're going to take the second year option. However, we as GMs need to stop offering it if we want to keep these players for long term.
Yeah, I mean, I know the reason that Kevin re-signed him with the all those options was
Kevin
he
Durant.
because he needs to hold on to Kevin Durant, and also because to if he got
And because
because
that's what I offered him and he had to match it,
yeah, but also
that's the way
because
it works.
he needed to get like rights on him, didn't he?
I mean, he had bird rights on him. And the
Mm.
thing is, if one GM comes in and gives him that second year player option, then
They're for
another
sure gonna
GM,
take that.
yeah, another GM needs to either totally increase the offer by more money so that they wouldn't need to opt out. In other words, foreseeing the inflation of the player and just overpaying him, or he needs to match that option.
See, one
In
one thing that I
reality,
thought was really weird is that when we offered the contracts, like a guy like for the Hornets, Chris Middleton signed an entirely realistic deal comparatively to what he signed in real life. And then other
yeah,
guys like Marc Gasol signed outrageous deals that are
yeah,
just like
Marcus Gasol. That's what I'm talking about. Are we gonna use real life player personalities or aren't we? We can't have one person use it and another person not. It needs to be consistent. Because if Chris Middleton's gonna re-sign with the Hornets for the realistic amount of money, then Marcus Gasol needed to re-sign with whatever team he was on.
Sacramento.
He
Yeah.
showed him loyalty. Vlade showed him loyalty by trading for him, by getting him. And I mean that's the hard part is because the GMs in this league don't show loyalty. But in the certain instances that the GM actually does show the loyalty, and if the player in real life shows the loyalty, then it needs to be done in here as well. Can't have one or the other. It needs to be consistent,
Like
and it just hasn't been.
for example, I think that last year Lamarcus Aldridge proved that he is going to get a max contract regardless, but he cares a lot about the basketball situation.
Yeah,
So I could see him opting out of that deal and leaving just because of the future of that team.
right. In
And
Portland, I
yeah,
could see Aldridge opting out. I could see Aldridge and Wall opting out and then just re-signing again.
yeah, I could see them both doing that as well. Same thing with like Walt's team. I could see both of those guys opting out and opting right back in.
Yeah, but the
But
idea is that they opt out to get more money.
yeah, so if they get that, even if they got that same exact contract with an extra year tacked onto it, that's
Yeah,
better.
it's an extra 35, 38 million dollars in their pocket guaranteed. And
Yeah,
that's why it's so important. You're not going to yeah, it may increase your salary from year 1 like they may John Wall is scheduled to make 24.6 million next year. So he opts out and he gets paid 28 million, but down the road he'll make 40 million in 1 year
yeah,
rather versus for an extra year versus where he could potentially decline, not be worth 40 million, and only and regress.
yeah.
And that's why they need to take it. Is that extra, that another extra year of financial security of being in the league on a guaranteed contract? Because you don't know what's going to happen 4 years down the road. The player doesn't know what's going to happen 4 years down the road. It's why Melo took that 6th year,
Hmm.
just so they could have that extra year, extra money.
Just in case.
just in case shit happens.
And
It's the insurance year. It's insurance.
I think that one thing that we should probably institute, and I think Ian was sort of a little bit on board with this. So in the last podcast that he was on, was going with the rule in the NBA that there can the option can only be in the last year of the deal,
Yeah.
unless it's the rookie like middle. You know how the middle part of it is
Hmm.
team options in case they just totally blow. And
Is that the rule in the NBA?
yeah, there's two team options in the middle of it.
No, I mean like when someone offers a contract, can the player option only be at the end of the contract?
I'm gonna take a look at it actually.
Because if it's not in real life, then why should we have it in ours? And I mean, the only reason we're having the perpetual second-year player option is because the cap goes up. Once the cap stabilizes, it should stop. But the cap's projected to go up 15 million next year, and then another 15 million to make it an even 100.
Okay. I'm on fan sided and it's going over how that works.
Rookie deals, it's the middle years or team options. But if you offer a contract, how many player options can there be? What years can they be in? What years can the team options be in? How many can there be?
Alrighty. Okay, so essentially it says that the early termination option gives the player the option to enter into unrestricted free agent a year early. It really doesn't mention whether or not you're allowed to have more than 1 year.
Okay.
It just every one of these is just saying about. All right, let's go down here.
When did the Wizards trade for Mike Conley?
A couple of weeks ago. Hmm. I think it like the just the only thing about it is that the options are they in real life they only show up at the end of the contracts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I'm looking at this, a
Either
contract
implement it or don't.
it says there are three types of options that can be applied in a contract. They are team, player, early termination, with one notable exception covered below. A contract can contain only one option year. So I think it doesn't technically mean that you can't put it in the middle of the contract, but you're only allowed
One.
to have one of them. So like if you accept that second one for say Greg Monroe, that other one wouldn't exist. So he'd really be committing to staying there for that long, you know?
Right. Which
And
is which is why you have a lot of 3-year contracts with the fourth-year player team option
yeah,
in the NBA for bird rights, for real bird rights, not early bird rights.
the one thing that I was discussing was with a couple GMs was they basically seem to think that my team right now, which is currently really overachieving and doing well. And a couple players are getting an overall increase as well.
Just don't
Uh,
change your lineup.
I, I'm going to.
Oh, they don't know about that.
No, they do. I think most people do. Um, and either way, um,
Ha! Go
the
ahead.
uh, the fact of they're acting like I'm over here like the sky is falling because obviously wasn't looking. I was looking to be at the very top of the draft again, and I think over a long season things are going to balance out. I mean, Philadelphia has a very good team, and they're currently like second worst in the league. Um, but what I think this does offer me in exchange
Well,
for
if you want to lose, just change your lineup.
well, one thing uh, that I think that is a big deal is that this just proves how good my core is that I've developed a little bit, and I think that even though I may not have the very worst record at the end of the season, I can use that in as a bargaining chip in terms of offering free agents next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like, hey, um, let me do that. Let me do it this way and say, hey, Kawhi Leonard, how's it going? Look at what
You
my
really need
team.
3.
Look at what my team did, and we were just recently the worst team in the league, and look at how much we're improving. Uh,
Yeah, but Kawhi Leonard is pretty much an established star right now. He'd be taking a gamble to go play with Carl Anthony Towns and Marcus Smart, who are still lottery tickets. You don't know about him.
yeah, but
He
I
would.
mean,
I'd imagine Kawhi Leonard would rather go play with a young, established, promising star such as like Chris Middleton, Giannis, Greg Monroe, Andre Drummond, Anthony Davis, people like that.
yeah,
Like if you're
I
going
can
to
see that.
build, if you're going to go to a young team, go to
A
go
young
to a,
guy on his fourth year.
yeah, who you know what they are. Not a young guy on the second year.
I wasn't meaning like him specifically. I mean, there's other guys out there that are coming into their first free agency, and some established guys that are coming into free agency this year that are going to be pretty valuable. And I think that that's an angle I can take in terms of limiting my sky is falling, I'm doing too well kind of situation.
Mm-hmm. I don't think doing too well is a problem.
No, I can't say that.
You can't do anything about it. You're not
Yeah,
going to go out and trade. Oh, Mark, we're playing too well. I need to keep tanking Marcus Smart. Here you go.
yeah.
No, you just have to ride it out.
So what do you think about the sort of the future of these teams? I don't know. If, I'm looking at the tankings right now.
The
What do you?
standings.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think about some of these teams at the bottom?
Well, dun, 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 dun. Let's look. The Knicks. The Knicks are in a rough spot because Brandon Jennings is what he is. He's not bad. He's probably a top 15 point guard in the league. Then you have Noah Vonleh, who nobody has any idea what he's going to be. Markieff Morris, who started to suck. Aaron Gordon, who's a freakish athlete, but is probably in the wrong systems, not getting playing time. And you have Rodney Hood. They have too many guard. They have too many wings.
Which
And then
normally is
top
a
it
good
off, they have
problem to
Frank
have.
Kaminsky. Right. Well, they need to make a move, build their team out.
I
Then you
like
have the
Frank Kaminsky.
Jazz. Well, I do too. I was just mentioning, like,
Oh, okay.
they have
That they
too
have
many
him.
perimeter players. Utah has and the three, Moody at the one. They need a two. They need a solid two. That's what they should look for in this draft.
You cut out there when you started talking about Utah.
Utah has Miritich and Whiteside in the center. Winslow at the three, Moody at the one. They need a solid two guard. Uh, 76ers are too good of a team to be in there. The Atlanta Hawks. I think Jay-Z knows what he needs. The Wizards. I don't understand why they traded for Mike Conley. I don't get that at all. What did he give up to get him?
To get who?
Mike Conley.
I'll pull that trade up here real quick. It was a three-team deal. He gave up um, Al Horford and Sean Williams to get Mike Conley and Roy Hibbert.
But why did Charlotte even trade Mike Conley?
Because he really liked he got Kentavious Caldwell Pope in the deal, and
Okay.
I guess he really likes that player. And then also next
Reggie
season,
Jackson, but I mean,
He has Reggie Jackson, and he wants to make sure that Reggie Jackson's confident that his spot is there. And he didn't want
so he
to.
likes he
He
likes
didn't want.
Reggie Jackson more than Mike Conley.
Yeah, I think so. Just based on like sort of the youth movement going on with the team, and also because he doesn't want to have to try and re-sign both of them because they're both on. They only have 1 year left on their deals. But I don't know
He
what.
wouldn't have to re-sign both of them. He could have just re-signed one or the other and had one as a backup. I don't know. That brings in a good point of signing trades. I feel like that should be an option, but it just makes things too complicated.
Yeah, it'd be a really tough thing to organize. I think. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
maybe not. I don't know. It's always been one of those things that's sort of been. It would help.
It's more or less
It
if
would
like the
help
player
guys like
wants it.
it would help like for example, you're sitting there um, at the end of the year and you want to get something for say pretend Kevin Love's leaving and you want to get something for him like a second round pick or something like Cleveland did with Miami and then
Yeah, but it only makes sense if you have bird rights on them. So, like, say Derrick Rose, for example, I have bird rights on Rose. I could offer Rose that extra year and then sign and trade him
mhm.
but all it gives you is you're right, like an extra second round pick. It's not really that big of a deal,
Yeah, I mean
but it is what it is. I think the most important thing in this league right now is free agency.
yeah, especially with the all the stars coming available next year.
Yeah, the options. It could be a big shakeup. Not really. There isn't really much. Like the only person who really should opt into that second year right now is Andrew Bynum.
Like him, I could see taking it. Um, I could see like Bismack Biombo. I don't know how well he's doing, and it's not like he doesn't have another team option right after that. If he gets good out of nowhere, Paul Pierce maybe, because I mean he ain't getting no younger. He's not make. He might not make
Right.
that 12 million in a 3 year deal. You know,
Yeah.
so guys like that. Lance Stevenson's really sucking it up for Los Angeles right now. It's just Uh, Free agency is a mess, and I blame the player agents.
I do
But
too.
but it's gonna be
I'd rather
really
not get into that.
fun
Oh
to
yeah,
because you're way more likely to get a guy you want if they
that's what you think.
if the money's spread out a lot.
Just
You
suck
know
the
what I
right
mean?
dicks. Yeah.
I'm all about it.
I don't know. I think at the end of the day, my team is maybe a 7 or an 8 seed at best. I don't own my pick. I can't make any trades. I'm up shit's creek without a paddle. I'm fucked. Just gotta
So
ride it out.
you just gotta wait till the off season, reload your team. Not even
Yeah,
necessarily reload it, just sort of add add two
realign things.
guys, and this team is special with trade assets.
Yeah,
I mean,
but at the same time, adding 2 guys is anybody out there banking on free agency just needs to stop right now. Just stop doing it. You don't know what's going to happen. It's not the
yeah,
right strategy to have.
you have to bank on the players that you have
Yeah,
because
like
you never.
I probably won't even re-sign Kevin Love. It just that's just the way it goes.
I think you'll get them back. I don't see why you
Oh
wouldn't.
yeah,
I mean, your team is in such a good situation. Like it's not like you're sitting like Russell Westbrook down in Sacramento with the next best player plays the same position you do, and the third best player is a Nene Hilario who's getting lowered down to like a 75.
yeah. But do you really think the player agent has it in him to make Russell Westbrook leave? I mean, because he should leave. But do you think that the player agent has the balls to do it?
I think that
Russell
um
Westbrook is the type of player in real life that would leave.
I
You know, it's why they
100%
traded James Harden.
the I I firmly believe that he should try and trade Russell Westbrook for something.
Yeah, because he's
Like
gonna get nothing for him.
yeah, and it's a lot harder to do without the bird rights, but with all this extra cap coming in, it's a lot easier to re-sign a guy that you don't have bird rights on. Like if a team that is decent trades an asset and gets Russell Westbrook, he has an all right chance of signing him, assuming his team isn't shit.
Right. I have
Yeah.
an all right chance of signing Russell Westbrook because he went to college with Kevin Love and they're friends.
Boom. Is that the future right there? That'd be scary.
Yeah, but you know, free agency doesn't go as you plan.
No, but
You can make the right offers to the right players, and the player agent has just the ability to be like, no,
I
no,
think
you're a douche. I don't like you. I'm gonna go to a different team. You
I
know, and
don't
that's.
think that has as much. Maybe it does. I don't know. But the player
I
agents.
mean, in my eyes, it looked like Walt traded Draymond Green to the Raptors, and Brian traded Eric Bledsoe to Walt. Hey, that's just the way it looked. And then you're making promises in free agency that uh, you're gonna trade this guy to free up a spot. Like that can't happen anymore. That was fucked up.
Oh, like you can come play with me, and I promise to trade this guy.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah, I don't like that. That's kind of
That wasn't cool.
which one was
Because not
that?
only that was Rubio and Bledsoe, because Walt harped and harped and harped about how much he loved Rubio and how much Rubio was great. And then he promises to trade Rubio because Bledsoe wanted to be the main point guard. Well, Bledsoe hasn't been the main point guard since like high school. Played with John Wall in college. He's played with Goran Dragic, Isaiah Thomas, and now I think he's playing with Brandon Knight. Right? He's never been the main guy. So why did it even matter? You had two
That's actually a
contradicting
good
things
question.
there. Exactly. Why did he go there? Why? And if he wasn't going to go there, why did he have to trade Ricky Rubio?
Yeah, it seems like he could probably
Which
just
is
seems like you probably just have Victor Oladipo play off the bench. He's a young player. He's not going anywhere. You have him forever.
right. No, but what I'm saying is you either need to make it so the players represent what they are in real life, or it's just about the best contract, the best fit, the best team. You can't have like half and half. You
Yeah.
can't have half the player agents operating under one assumption and the other half operating on another. It doesn't make sense, and it's not fair.
Okay. Now let's discuss. Um, there's really not too many other hot button issues. I mean, it's sort of just gearing up for free agency and figuring out a way to make sure that everything stays either totally real or not. And then,
If anybody has any ideas on how to maneuver some trades with me, I'm all open. Just make everyone available. I mean, no one on my team is untouchable.
yeah, I think I've been looking at various trade blocks and stuff because I was thinking about maybe making a move or two. And I see a lot of like, these are my untouchables. You never touch these players. I think that's the wrong
That's
attitude.
that's what I'm saying. Ricky Rubio was one of Walt's untouchables. Then he makes the promise that he'll trade him to get Bledsoe, when in real life Bledsoe doesn't even give a shit about that shit.
Yeah.
Or then you have things like, I don't know. You had a lot of like Marc Gasol going to the Bucks. Uh, Marc Gasol shows so much loyalty to the Memphis Grizzlies. I don't know why he would go to the Bucks. I mean, I guess I get why he would in the league, like, but at the same time, like, what's it going to be? Are you going to have represent player personalities, or just represent best contracts with the best team and the best fit?
Now,
And that's a big decision that needs to be made.
was there no bird rights on him
On who?
on Gasol? I don't remember.
No, there's no bird rights on Gasol. But Vlade could have signed him. I don't even know if he made an offer or what. But he had, I think he offered about the same money. And I mean, you put Marc Gasol on that team, it's a playoff team. It's
Yeah,
not a championship team, but it's a playoff team. And the Memphis Grizzlies in real life, they are not a championship team. They're a playoff team. And Marc Gasol seems to be pretty content about it, considering he re-signed with them.
yeah, that's true. What do
I
you make
mean,
about rumors that after Pau Gasol's contract ends in Cleveland or in Chicago, that they're talking about how he might end up in Memphis? How cool
that's
would that
possible.
How cool would that backcourt be 3 years ago?
Front court.
Front
Yeah.
court, yeah. How cool would that front court be 3 years ago?
Be really good. The Bulls have some problems in real life.
They really, I don't know. Their team has the same problem they did with Thibodeau, which was the offense sucks, and then
Hoiberg's supposed to be an offensive genius.
yeah, but then their defense is taking a step back. Clearly, part of that is Noah has taken a step back, and
Well, they need to decide what they need to do with their players.
I
But
think isn't part of the problem that Chicago sort of aren't they owned by like a cheapskate guy who doesn't really give a shit about whether his teams win or not? He's been sort of just
I
floating off Jordan money for the past.
think it's Jerry Reinsdorf, or was that the GM? I don't know. I mean, obviously they put a lot of money into Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose got hurt. That's just what happened.
Yeah,
Can't do anything about that. Like that was just bad luck. But the offense that Hoiberg's running doesn't fit any of the players there. None of them.
no, they should
And
be running like a Frank Vogel offense.
that's the problem with I have with a lot of like professional coaches, like in the NFL and the NBA. Like throw your ego out the door and just make your offense fit the team. Like they bring Mark D'Antoni in, or Mark D'Antonio. Wait, is it D'Antoni?
Yeah,
Yeah, D'Antonio is Michigan State's head football coach. So they bring him in, and they're gonna run. And they ran when they had Dwight Howard and fucking Pau Gasol. Why are you gonna run? Like, don't slow the game down. You have two of the best post players in the league right now, or they did.
yeah,
Oh
at the
no, we're
time.
gonna we're gonna run them. That was stupid.
Yeah, I think uh, Philadelphia just signed
Yeah, they
Mike
put him
Mike
on there.
Mike D'Antoni. Like, what a
Jerry
terrible offensive
Colangelo,
coach for Jaleel Okafor.
Jaleel Okafor, and Nerlens
Jaleel,
Noel and Joel Embiid. Yeah, we're gonna run with 3 7-footers that have foot problems. Let's run with them,
like
idiots.
like uh like Jaleel Okafor is like he's one of the very few back to the basket guys.
Right.
It should be him combined with a bunch of 3-point shooters and run the Stan Van Gundy offense.
4 out, 1 in. Right.
Yeah, and
Or you can run the Memphis high low with how they do with Randolph and Gasol, just ball movement,
I,
threes.
I don't
Did
think
you
that
watch the Golden? Did you watch the Cavs game today? Did you see
yeah,
how when Tristan Thompson stepped outside the paint, he was just ignored and it clogged the lanes up terribly?
yes.
Yeah, that's
I
a
um
problem.
I think that there should be no situation like I think that the Cavs signing Tristan Thompson for that amount of money was stupid,
Yep.
and I do not believe that he would have gotten that same offer from any other team, like the original offer that they were offering, which I think was a little bit under Draymond Green,
Yeah.
who's amazing.
I don't think Draymond Green's amazing.
He's worth that money for the role that he plays on that team.
Yeah, he's good, but he's not. I think that's a good team. That's not great players. It's a good team.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's not
Like
Jordan carrying the Bulls. It's like the Spurs teams. You know.
they really do
And
have
that's not saying that
such a
Tim Duncan's
Spurs.
great.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
this. They have sort of the
it's not.
they have sort of that really interesting um
They're
eh,
revolutionizing the league because they're shooting threes, playing inside or playing outside in.
I don't know if such like I think that Steph Curry is just so good at shooting off the dribble that like there's not most players can't do that,
No, they can't.
and I think that other teams are going to try to do what they do, and it's not going to work because you're not going to have a power forward that passes like a point guard on your team that can
Right.
also shoot threes
Right, and that's
and play defense because most of the ones that can pass and shoot threes, a la Kevin Love, aren't amazing on defense. I mean,
no. Kevin Love's not as athletic as Draymond Green.
he's not a slouch, but he's not like
No.
real good. You know, he's not real good at it.
But let's
But
get back to the D5.
all right, D5.
Anything you want to know about the rating committee player creation? What goes into it?
Yeah. Tell us about like when you're we put in a vote on a player. I posted a little vote I counted them all up and stuff just because it seemed like it'd be helpful for the rating committee guys because there's a crap load of threads out right now. Some players are getting posted multiple times because nothing's gotten updated yet. But it's the holidays. I don't know why anybody'd expect it to happen that fast, and it happens amazingly faster than it ever did. But we
With
put in
the
this. We put in an increase on Kristaps Porzingis. He got voted to a 78. Your
okay,
take?
but I don't like how you vote is how you vote. That's what your opinion is. Your opinion's valued. It's a democracy. It goes in to get averaged. But at the end of the day, the 78 next to his name doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. It doesn't mean a damn thing. All it means is that when you take all of his points in his categories and it comes out to 78. All of his points could be in stamina, injury, and athleticism, and he could be a 78. So Kristaps Porzingis gets voted up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Walt and I would go in, we'd look at VORP data, his shot sheets, what his tendencies are, you know. So then we'd change his 3 point percentage, like how often he takes a 3 pointer. That's one stat. And you'd go in and you'd break it down. You'd put a little there. He'd improve here, take there. You'd minus things. And since there's no in-game injuries, right? There's no
Mm-hmm.
in-game injuries. We've every player we've put their injury rating as the same. I think it's a 75. That way, it's like a null category,
Okay.
and that creates more space. So you vote Steph Curry to a 99, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's no need for him to be a 99 because we those points are just going to go into like injury. He's already a 99 if he's sitting at like a 93.
Yeah.
You have to understand that. You have to understand, and so like we look at all this data and we try and figure it out. And at the end of the day, no one's ever happy. But at least it's decent, or it was.
Well, I mean, that I think that's something that a lot of people don't take into account. I think Adam Collins tried to explain that aspect of it in the Steph Curry thread, and and I understood it, and I get it, and I think that when things get nitpicky like that, when it's like Steph Curry versus Russell Westbrook, who's the better one or whatever,
You
like
can't compare them. It's comparing apples to oranges. They play the same position, but they might as well be playing way different positions. They do
yeah,
different things for their teams. You can't. That's why looking at like a 92 next to Chris Paul, it shouldn't mean anything. You just need to have faith and trust in the ratings committee that he's built the way he should be built, and that 92 is just like he's the best point guard who's a pass first tendency team leader. Things like that.
okay,
Not oh, he's 1 point less than Russell Westbrook. What?
yeah,
And when you guys vote on things, you're voting. They vote. A lot of people like look like, all right, well, Russell Westbrook's a 93. I think Chris Paul is 1 point less, 92. You can't do that. It just needs to be like you need to quantify a number of what you think how good the player is.
yeah, like for example, when you're looking like when I think might have been Walt or James K. He put in a ratings increase on Matthew Dellavedova. Um, wasn't me,
Right.
surprise. um, and like right now in the sim, looking at him at his 73, like he's playing really well and is playing reasonable to where he's at in real life. And obviously, my team's not hurting because of him being that 73. Um, it's sort of like a weird situation, I guess, because I really like him. He suggested a 76. Um, and if you can say to yourself, all right, I see a couple other 73 guys. He's definitely not that. And then you're just
Well,
like, let's make him a little bit better, I
here's the
guess is the
thing.
idea.
Okay, you need to have consistency. As a
Hmm.
voter, it does no good if you just go in there and throw random numbers out. You need
Hmm.
to have consistency in how you're voting the things. You need to have consistency on how bigs are rated versus wings, versus shooting guards versus point guards. You need to have consistency in that. You need to have consistency in the free agency process. You have consistency in rookie ratings. There's not enough of it. There's not enough of, and when you don't have enough consistency, you don't have enough trust, which is why people are screaming about bias and collusion and shit like that. Because
So, so when you're saying like what, like what I did personally, like when I did my little personal system, I sort of like have a tier of where my ideas are at when I'm rating a guy.
yeah, what you should do is in your head, if you go in and there's a thread on Joakim Noah, you should look. All right, is he a top 10 center? Is he top 15 center? All right, where is he? Okay, is he better than X or is he worse than Y? Is he equal to Z? What is he? And you should be able to look at that and then think, all right, this is the number. That's good. But you can't just go in and be like, 82 and have no idea about anything else. Like you should be able to line them up and look at them, and look at stats. That's why you need to compare players that play similarly. Like you should compare Chris Paul to Mike Conley and
But you shouldn't compare Chris Paul to
to Russell Westbrook or
Steph
Steph
Curry
Curry. Right.
because they're totally different players.
Right. So you need, but at the same time, you should still have them in the same tier. But just like noted, this is different than X. And
Well, even like
not
a
enough,
guy,
not enough people have that. Not enough people take the time when it comes to ratings. They're just like, this is my opinion. This is what I think he is. All right, and it skews everything. It fucks everything up because it it's like a democracy. All right, the idea of a democracy is that you have educated voters voting. Well, if the voters aren't educated, then there's no point in fucking voting. And that's how it is in the ratings committee. Yeah, everyone wants to sit there and put out their number and have their opinion, but if they're not looking reasonably and looking like, all right, Danny Green's a 79, okay, I think he's maybe a couple players better than them, and like actually have a tier and have things on Excel and Microsoft Word and how things are set up with your team, then it just gets all fucked up.
well, like for example, and I think that I'm guilty of this because I don't do it enough. But like when you look at the way the ratings are, when there's all the categories and stuff, and let's rewind a couple years back when Joakim Noah, in my opinion, was about as close to being a superstar as you could get. But the
Yeah.
way he plays, it's basically impossible to get him up above anything over like an 85, 84. Like
Right.
he might be a 90 in your mind, but like look at the ratings. Like you can make him really good at all the stuff he does in real life, and he's not even come close to 90.
Yeah. And that's the problem is people are like, oh my God, Steph Curry or Jimmy Butler's so good, needs to be a 90. But they're not actually thinking about the points that go into it, where they're going to go, what they're going to be, how it's going to look, what he's going to play like. Yeah, we can make Steph Curry a 99. He's just going to get 13 defensive rebounds a game, and it's going to be all fucked up. That's why
Yeah.
that's why when you go play NBA Live, you don't have a bunch of people rated at 98 and 99 because there's categories that go into things. And it's a thinking process. You can't sit there and just watch highlights. You need to know, you need to watch the game. You need to see how Aaron Aflalo shoots off the dribble or how he shoots catch and shoot. And, does he pass well or
Mhm.
what's Jimmy Butler doing defensively right now? Just,
That, and I
you
think
need to be informed. That's what the problem is
like
you're going to,
when we're rating these big guys, and we say, all right, this guy's the best center. He needs to be an 89, right? Well,
no.
here's the problem. Centers are slow.
Yeah, you can't
You're
make him
only allowed
pass.
to make his. Even Anthony Davis isn't like he's got a long stride, but you can't put his speed at the 99 just to get him up to a certain rating because then he's going to be the most overpowered sim guy on the planet.
What you should do is what every GM should do. They should go into Microsoft Excel, put down all the players that are on rosters right now, break it down, and then they should make a page for point guards, shooting guards, threes, power forwards, centers. List them, and then they should go. All right, two-way shooting guards. List them. Wings, defensive wings. List them. 3 and D guys. List them. Stretch fours. List them. Uh, high post centers, low post centers, things like that, and just list them and have your tiers and your categories and balance it out. That way you can look across a category, and be like, all right, that he's an 84.
Hmm.
Not necessarily just coming up with numbers off the top of your head because you think, Joakim Noah is 1 point less than Marcus All.
Yeah, and like you were saying when you say you want to compare apples to apples, like a guy like guys like stretch fours are always going to have inflated ratings
Mm-hmm.
because their 3 point is going to be high, and most of them are just as efficient inside as
Yeah.
back to basket guys.
Right.
So like a guy like Ryan Anderson is an 82, but
Kevin Love.
probably defends like a 50.
Yeah.
Like he does in real
That's what I'm
life.
saying. You go and you look at a player and it's like, oh, 85 Serge Ibaka. He should be better. Well, should he be better? Do you know what that 85 is? Like, you need to look at it. You need to think about where those points are going to go.
Hmm.
That's why I feel like in the ratings, and not necessarily in the ratings committee, but when we vote on a player, I feel like you need to open up the ratings. You need to say, look, all right, this is where the points are. Where do you want me to put them? Because there's no room to put them.
Yeah.
But the votes should be about the overall. It shouldn't be over where they should be put. I think that should be left up to the rating committee. But in the case, like, what was it last year? Kyle Korver, people were trying to raise him because he's like a 78. And it's like everything that he does well, that he's doing well and getting recognition for, is already a 99. We can't make him higher. That's when we have to open it up and be like, hey, look,
He's actually
it's
just doing.
already, yeah, it's already fine. People,
Yeah.
like, they just get so caught up in what the number looks like. And then
Yeah.
people get caught up in, their own players. Like, they fall in love with their own players too much, and then they won't move them if they get a good offer. Like, oh my God, I love Dennis Schroeder. So good. I'm not going to move him for anything. But in reality, is he that good? No. What are you voting him as? You're voting him as higher than he actually is. Or, you know,
I think like a lot of players, like a lot of GMs, I pay a lot more attention to my own players, and I think that there is a sort of a unspoken rule or something where you shouldn't ask to lower certain players and things like that. And I will lower my own players and I'll raise my own players regardless of what I
yeah,
think I want to happen. I think a lot more people have to do that because I like right now I think Carl Anthony Towns could be rated a little higher, but he's doing everything he's doing in real life in the sim, so I can't really complain about it. You know what I mean?
right.
And the same
There's
thing
a
with all my players. Like Omri Caspi's averaging like 22 points a game in the sim.
there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that people don't know about. They're not bad things, they're good things, but because they don't see them, they make the worst assumptions, and then they don't necessarily know what to vote when it
Hmm.
comes to ratings committee, or when it comes to trades. Like, just talking about bias in general, everyone's going to be biased. You have your opinion, and that's your bias. I don't like Robin Lopez, but James keeps trying to trade him to me. You know,
Yeah.
like, that's just how it is. Or in another league, somebody was like, "Who do you want for Julius Randle, Alfred Payton, and Mario Hezonja?" And I told him his firstborn child, like, he's not getting them. Those are my guys.
Hmm.
Not touching them. And he's like, "Man, what the hell? You rate your players too high." It's like, well, yeah, of course I do. They're my players. They're my guys. I love them. I love Derrick Rose. But at the same time, when it comes to the offseason, I got to be realistic and think, well, is he going to be a good fit for my team anymore? I love Giannis Antetokounmpo, but at the same time, being a GM knows you have to know whether or not you should trade him.
Yeah.
Should you keep him? Like,
If
you got to make
someone
tough
rolls
decisions.
in like pretending like LeBron James or something is has a full contract on him and goes, "Hey, I'll give you LeBron James," and you go, "Yep, time to move into contending mode immediately." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
you can't say no. I'm not trading him T.J. Warren
yeah.
for.
You need to know when to flip the switch and when to flip it off. Like you should know when to blow it up, when to turn it on. Like a perfect example would be like the Bulls right now in our league. Right, Chris Paul's got a player option next year. Okay, he's got Noah, Lee, Butler, Aflalo all on 1 year deals. If Chris Paul opts out, he's sitting at 20 million of salary on the book, and that's with picking up Jeremy Lin's 8.7 million contract that he's not going to do. So then he has 11.3 million dollars in salary. That's a ton of cap space. Just tons of cap space. Are you really going to be able to fill nearly 90 million in cap space? Maybe, but not necessarily. You should trade Joakim Noah for a long term guy who looks a little better, a little worse. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Joakim Noah is an 83, and you might get someone like an 81 back in return, but at least he's on a 4 year deal. Whereas if you go into free agency with him, you're like, and you lose him, you're fucked. You
Mhm.
know, you could be sitting there holding your dick with
But
nothing in your, nothing.
I think that with the new salary cap thing that they've done,
And
and
D5, what is it?
the the huge like the huge team contracts like Denver's like sitting at 139 will be sitting at near 150 after they sign Kyrie Irving back. I
Yeah,
mean, that is
it's way too much money.
yeah, I mean that whole roster is unrealistic at that. I mean, and
Well,
it's
Brooke
one
Lopez and Josh Smith both need lowered. You know,
yeah, I mean it's
and he's
but
gonna have to cut salary because of the new rule. Like,
yeah. So I mean, I don't even know.
where's that money gonna go? Like, how's he? He's gonna have to trade those players plus assets to teams with cap space just so he doesn't get penalized, or he
Yeah.
may just take the L, may just take the penalty. You
Mhm.
know, like Miami, where are they at cap wise? They're not bad anymore.
No, but they're gonna lose a lot of guys.
Yeah, but like with Denver, he may have to cut off to get rid of Josh Smith to cut that cap. He may have to give up a first round pick just to get rid of him. You know?
No, they for sure have to do that.
Yeah.
And that first round pick has no value.
No. But who's Josh Smith going to go to? Like some shitty team, like the Memphis. He'll go like the Grizzlies, for example. And Josh Smith may or may not help your team, but that extra pick isn't going to kill you.
No, and if depending on when you're trying to make that jump, I mean, what do I even have for next year for salary? I got a bunch of nothing. Like I can if I'm gonna sign maybe like one guy, or
Right.
I might not be able to sign anybody, and then having him on the books isn't gonna hurt me. And
Like
having
with when it comes to free agency, you could literally be stuck with no one, and then you just fill in your roster with 50s, and then it's bad. It's bad news bears. Then you realize, well, shit, I traded all my picks to get all these good players, and I didn't re-sign them. Now I've got no picks, my team sucks, and JR's ahead of me in the standings. You know,
yeah,
like
and
that's what I'm in right now. I've
there
got
needs
no pick this year. My team blows. I can't exactly trade anybody around. You know,
yeah. I think I think another issue I guess is that not enough teams are competing.
yeah, that's another issue. Everyone wants to lose
Yeah, I
because
think
because because they've realized that you either have to be really bad and get lottery picks, win through free agency. Those are the only two ways to win, or make great trades. You're not going to win being a middle of the pack team. Like, there's no benefit to making the eighth seed every year in this league. There's none. Like, if you're
yeah.
an eighth seed, you should just blow everything up and try to restart. Or if you're like me, you should just be like, like I'm probably going to be like 9, 8, 7 seed. I'm just going to have to sit here, hold tight, hope I make the playoffs, and come back next year and try and sign some people. And if I can't sign anybody, I'm screwed. You know, then I got to blow things up. But the problem is that I'm a year. I got Giannis on the 3-year contract right now. This is when his value is the highest. So do I trade him for a couple of pieces? Well, I can't because I don't have contracts to roll it up with. I had to sign Amir Johnson and Kyle Singler just to get to 70 million, just so that I knew that if I had to, I had 12.5 million of cap space to move to roll up.
My idea with the Brendan Haywood contract was a good idea. It's a little less valuable because of the rising cap, but I think it'll help me swing a deal or two that'll maybe help push me to that next level.
Right.
Because we have so many interesting situations. I think, for example, we may have to pull a real life NBA and institute a minimum contract or minimum team salary.
Yeah,
Um,
because I could not sign anybody and just say screw it.
well, I
You
mean,
know what I mean?
like last season, I think Ian had like $35 million in player contracts.
Well, what happens is when a team's that low, other teams become really high. Like when teams are this bad and just stocking up on rookies, other teams are getting like these crazy amount of players and trading for Josh Smith on a terrible deal. And then that's what happens where they've got to break it down and institute that max cap.
Yeah, because I
But it,
mean, you can trade Josh Smith away for another max contract guy, and it's not going to penalize you at all.
right,
'Cause it's not real money. I mean,
no. What you
so
need to do is basically to summarize all of this, don't bank on free agency. A lot of the players need to opt out. Well, maybe not a lot of the players need to opt out. Like going through the teams, let's look. Norris Cole, I don't know. Andrew Bynum opt in. Greg Monroe opt in. I don't think you're going to get more than 20 million unless you really turn it up. Chris Paul, 23 and a half. I think he opts out just because the team could be really really bad.
yeah, like opt out and then just see where things go after, like during the free agency if he gets an early signing that looks promising.
Yeah, Paul Pierce opt in. Stevenson, probably going to opt in because you're terrible now. Rajon Rondo, 24 million. He's probably opting in.
He might opt out though for a long term deal that gets him like 30 million total.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to get. Who knows? He's getting older too. He's like 29, 28, 30.
Yeah,
OJ Mayo's probably opting in. Eric Gordon, 12 million right now, probably opting in. David West opting in, 12 million. Jared Walls is opting in at 11.
Marvin
Uh,
Williams, I could see maybe opting out for a 3 year deal.
yeah, Omar Asik probably opting in. Mark Gasol, like I
That's a
think that's a
really good deal for a declining guy.
yeah. I mean it. I think his career is going to go down from this point forward. I think he's going to opt in, but there's a chance he opts out and gets like 24 million, then 26, then 29, then 32, and then 34, just for that extra year of security.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's gonna sign him to that though.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's where the player agent has to, or the GM, the player agent has to decide whether that's actually a good idea for him or not.
Right. I think Favors opts out. I think he's going to make more than 20 million, and then he'll get the 6th year probably at like 35.
Yeah.
Same with Bledsoe, going to make more than that money.
Um, Gordon
DeMar-
Hayward signed a realistic contract, so that's okay.
DeMarcus Cousins probably. Uh, I think Millsap opts out at 13.5 million, 13.8 million. I think he opts out.
Yeah,
Durant's a free agent, so with those two opting out, I think Cousins opts out. You know, because
yeah.
if he can't sign Millsap and Durant, it's just him and Rubio. So I think he opts out,
See
waits and
what
sees what
happens.
happens. Because Kevin has bird rights on Durant.
The only problem I see with Kevin and his team is that, like, say he re-signs Durant and Cousins, like the rest of his team is sparse as far as talent goes, and I don't know how you navigate that.
Right, that's what I'm having problems with mine. I mean, I have talent, but I don't have contracts to trade. Then you've got Evan Fournier. I think he opts out. I think he can get 12 million a year.
I think you get 15 to 18.
JJ Hickson, who knows? Lou
Probably out.
Williams,
I don't even know if he's playing anymore.
6 man like Lou will. I think he opts out. LMA, Marcus Aldridge. I think him and Wall opt out.
Here's the only counter
Dang's going.
argument to that is that if they win the championship again, they opt in just because.
Did they win last year? No, I thought Golden State won last year. Yeah,
They won the year before that, didn't they?
yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, Tim Duncan, he's only gonna. I don't think he needs a rating decrease, but you
Oh,
can
he's
tell he's on
playing
the decline.
really, really good.
Yeah, I think Luol Deng might need one. I think Manu might need one. But I think LMA and John Wall opt out to
I think
pick up
this
an
is the
extra
point.
year.
I think this is the point where Portland sort of makes the decision of whether or not they're gonna try and roll with Wall and Aldridge.
I think if he wants to make the point to keep going, to keep winning, he's got to make a big trade to land a third person because Duncan could retire at any moment. Dang isn't that great, and Ginobili could retire at any moment. So he
Yeah,
needs to get that third piece.
just to have.
Sacramento, yeah, just to have him, just to keep Wall and Aldridge there.
Yeah.
The next guy down the list is Kyle Lowry at 12.4 million. I think he's gone. I think he makes way more than that.
Who's that?
Kyle Lowry,
Where are we at? Okay.
Toronto.
Oh yeah, he's playing out of his mind. I can't believe he signed that contract to begin with.
Yeah,
I think the main reason he was able to get Kyle Lowry so cheap was because
because he's a
there
player agent.
no
What?
no
Jeremiah, why'd you say that?
um
That's so mean.
because he there's a lot of people that either really like Kyle Lowry, and then there's another group of people that really don't care for him that much.
Right. I don't think he signed that contract this offseason, though.
Oh hell no.
No. But yeah, he's going to get paid.
Utah, currently the worst team in the league, is Hassan Whiteside got voted up recently.
I
He's
think the
playing really
Lakers are going to
well.
sign him in real life.
That'd be a pretty cool situation
Yeah.
because they'll be able to get rid of Hibbert, and then you have Whiteside, and then Russell, and then whoever. They don't have their draft pick this year, I don't think.
If it's like
They're in a wrecked
if it's
situation.
like 5 through 10, they have it, but they're not going to be. I think if it's like 7 through 14, they have it. If it's under 7, it's Phillies, and it's going to be under 7.
Yeah, they're not good enough.
No.
Um, who else? And then Caron Butler, I could see opting into that deal. I don't even know how he got that option there. It should be a team option,
Right.
to be honest.
But
I
I
feel
mean,
T Mac destroyed that team too.
yeah, I feel bad.
Yeah, but as long as he's around for the long haul, I mean, he's making moves, trying to get something done. We'll
I
see
wish
how
I
it
could
works
make
out for him.
moves. I want to make moves. I don't know. Jeremiah, if you were in my situation, would you blow the team up?
Um,
I don't think I'm.
I don't think you have to. I think you just have to be patient with it because I mean Wesley Matthews uh is a good piece. You have him there. Then you have Kevin Love, who I think is going to resign. Assume like and there's a million point guards out there. You could sign Kyle Lowry to that Derrick Rose's contract.
Yeah,
Then I mean,
I need a center. I hope
but
Nurkic gets better.
might have a center if Nurkic proves out to be as good as we thought he was last year. I mean,
The problem is the player agent will come by and be like, "Yeah, your team's not in contention to win yet. Kevin Love's gonna go elsewhere."
that's
And
the
I mean,
thing.
who's to say
In
that?
real life, Kevin Love didn't even want to be on a contender. Kevin Love just wanted to be on a playoff team.
Yeah,
And I mean, it's not your fault that Derrick Rose died. I mean, what can you do about that? The same situation Chicago was in. Like they had a contending team, their guy gets hurt, then they traded Luol Deng away.
yeah. I don't know, but the problem is I don't have like if someone wants to give me like a great player for Giannis, I don't have the cap to match it. I'd literally have to trade like Giannis, James Young, T.J. Warren, Nurkic, and Singler to get to 10 million. You know,
There you'd trade Giannis for, like in your mind, who would be a guy similar value?
I don't know, but like just pick anybody making $10 million who's rated better than Giannis, right? I
Yeah,
can't trade Giannis for him because I need to fill out nine or you know $8.2 million.
yeah.
So I need James Young, I need T.J. Warren, I need Joseph Nurkic.
Well, I
Like,
mean, Kyle Singler's a contract.
yeah, but Kyle Singler is pretty good.
um, well, what if it was something like, just for an example of contracts that kind of makes sense? Chris Paul
What, Derrick
for,
Rose and Giannis?
yeah. I mean, that's an interesting deal.
Yeah, but then Chris Paul can just opt out, and I've just traded Giannis and Derrick Rose for nothing.
Well, pretend that we signed realistic contracts.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, yeah, I could theoretically pair Giannis and Rose for somebody
for
big on a long-term deal.
because I mean, there's teams out there that have these guys that are like it just seems just that there's just so much. Um, there's so many players on 1 year like expiring deals this year, or like
Giannis and Rose for Harden.
ooh,
Uh-oh. Paul George. Giannis and Rose for Harden, and then I go fucking sign Russell Westbrook.
just force them to be team.
Yeah.
Suck it, Westbrook.
Deal with it.
And I think that
Alex, you listen? Giannis and Rose for Harden.
the like this off season, I really took a gamble because I think a lot of people expected my team to be really bad again, and I did too, to be honest. But I tried to sign Chris Middleton. Um,
Everybody tried to sign people. It's the
yeah,
thing.
but
If you're banking on free agency,
I
you
wasn't
tell
banking
them.
on it. But I don't think that anybody anticipated me being as active in free agency as I was. Like I was offering contracts to some bigger name guys, and I understand why they didn't sign. Obviously, I was the worst team in the league. But I think that, for example, a team like Jay Z, Atlanta Hawks, they have been stagnant.
Yeah, it's better to do something than
Yeah, and
sit there.
I'm not saying um, that it's a good idea to give up a bunch of prospects for one guy and then have your team middle road. But I mean, as of right now, we have one, two, three, uh, four, five,
What?
six,
What are you even
seven.
looking at?
I'll tell you, 7, 8 teams just sitting there with $20 million in cap space, and that doesn't really happen too much in the real NBA. And I think that, um,
What's going on with the tankings?
what do you mean?
Oh, never mind. Never mind.
What were you thinking it was?
I'm just looking at it wrong.
Oh, saying that like it looked like New York was like higher ranked.
Yeah.
Oh, um, but one thing, I mean, if you look at some of these teams, it's just like maybe. And I don't want to say this because it really does hurt rebuilding teams. But when we do these rookie contracts, like the contracts are for 5 years.
Hmm.
I don't know what the rookie contracts look like in real life. I'm gonna pull it up right now. Is that I think that we should probably take it down to 4 years.
Because that fifth year is like our qualifying offer. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I mean that qualifying offer, because of the way the league works, though. I mean, it's an automatic. You get them back. You know what I mean? And maybe that would help increase the overall salaries of all the players. If, for example, next year Terrence Ross would be getting $8 million a year as opposed to $3 million. Jared Sullinger would make 10 or something like that. Just spitballing though.
Right.
Although I may be being being a douche though, because if I remember right, what was it, like a player option was on those?
What?
Oh, they had player options at the end of the deals. This Remember when the rookie salaries were released? The qualifying offer year was a player option.
Yeah.
I think if anything, it should just be first year, second year, team option, free agency.
Uh. Yeah, because you still get the bird rights.
Yeah, I mean, like you got the bird rights, and there's not a lot of. If you're rebuilding for 4 straight years and you have no discernible improvement whatsoever, I mean, maybe that team, if someone offers them money to leave, you either gotta match it or they leave.
I like the idea of having restricted free agency.
I do too. I think it would be it would add more structure to it. I guess it wouldn't be so much wild west.
The way it works in our league is nice. In Dynasty 720, you basically, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. Teams put in an offer sheet, another team matches. You know, it's what
Yeah.
you do. They're gonna match it. The problem is if you have bird rights or not. You know, if you don't have
Hmm.
bird rights, then you need to cut salary on them to match. It just
Yeah.
basically gives you an extra chance. Like if you were to trade for like Kawhi Leonard right now,
Hmm.
it basically lets you keep him so long as you can. It
Pay for them.
increases, yeah, it increases Kawhi's value. I think it would be a really good idea to implement. It would make trading those guys a lot better for teams,
And then,
especially when because like if you look at the Suns and Kawhi for example. All right,
hmm
okay, so he's got Dragic. Say all he has on his seems actually not that bad. But say all he has on his team is Kawhi, right? It's
Yeah, and
just
then
Kawhi.
everyone else kind of sucks
Everyone else kind of sucks. He can't trade Kawhi
for
because
equal
he only
value.
has, yeah, he only has 1 year left. But if you can trade him to a good team that has room, he can get a lot back in return for him.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Well, I think that's a really interesting thing because I mean I don't because it's you sign a contract a player to that qualifying offer. A player is only ever a restricted free agent coming off of the rookie deal.
yeah, that's it.
So I mean, if you just say, "All right, scrolling up to my team," we'll just do that because it's easy, and that that $8 million is my qualifying offer. We all know that I have bird rights on him. Um, and if I traded him, he would still be restricted.
Right.
So, and if say he gets good or whatever for whatever reason he doesn't fit my plan, or he's the only good player on my team for whatever reason, then I can still get him back and build around him in the way that I choose. And I don't think it really would hurt player movement too much because then you would have you'd have more continuity and within the teams, and there'd be more. I don't want to say
There'd be
this.
more trades. They'd be less likely to tank.
Yes, because you wouldn't feel like
You have to. You
tank.
wouldn't feel like you have to tank. You could be able to keep players.
Yeah,
That's
because
important.
one of the biggest things that like the real life Houston Rockets went on to become contenders, they did that by trading for guys on one 1 to 2 to 3 year deals
And then extending them.
and then extending them the year after.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a big aspect of how teams get put together in real life.
But we
That's
can't use it in here because we don't have it.
yeah, that's the
Like there's
third
only a couple ways to win in here: making good trades,
for
which is
drafting.
hard to do; drafting by tanking, which is hard to do; or free agency, which is again is hard to do. In free agency, it's
Is
it's
random like it is in real life.
yeah,
You never know if you're gonna sign a guy to $100 million contract and then it just sucks.
right. Well, not only that, but like you don't know if you're going to get the player.
Yeah. So I mean,
Like
it's
you can have everything you need for him, and
someone
the
else
agent could
does
just,
too.
the agent could just be like, yeah, I choose you.
Pikachu.
I
Um,
choose you, Blastoise. Sit the bench, Pikachu.
yeah. I mean, it's one of those. I think that would add a whole new way to do
Whole
things
new
as far as
wrinkle of how to win.
yeah. And another thing is that makes it more likely for these teams that are holding on to the strings of competitiveness like a Chicago. Like Chicago is screwed, but if some of these players he had that he could trade away and actually get something back,
In D5?
yeah.
What do you mean he's screwed?
Well, like for he doesn't he's missing draft picks and stuff for the next
Joakim
year.
Joakim Noah isn't wouldn't be a restricted free agent. The only person he could trade away to be a restricted free agent would be Jimmy Butler.
Oh, all right.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
still, that'd be something that could happen in the league because it would help it make it more competitive. There needs to be more consistency in free agency, and when people vote in the rating committee or in the stock watch, they need to take into account things and be informed. And
yeah.
we've been going on for like what now? 3 hours? A while?
About 2 hours.
I think it's time we call it.
All right, let me ask you one more thing that would add that extra wrinkle. What do you think about transferred bird rights?
I think you either have to go with RFA or you have to go with transferred bird rights. You can't go with one or the other. I think transferred bird rights is stupid.
Okay.
The whole league is based around trading a guy with 3 years right now. If you transfer bird rights, it would just be too. It'd be such a dramatic seismic shift that it would just screw everything up.
Anybody's basic plans that they've been building off of
Yeah,
strategy wise, and
you could say we'll implement it next year or the year after. You can't just all of a sudden pop that on them. Like right now, you could pop RFA on them.
it wouldn't really cause anybody any problems. No one's going to be mad about being able to keep their guy easier.
Yeah, like Denver's just like, all right, I'll match Kyrie's offer sheet, whatever.
Yeah,
Or
and
Kyrie has more, or it makes it Kyrie has more trade value right now. That's all it does.
yeah, it can only really help you. It's not going to lock you into a situation that you didn't want to be in.
Right.
And then I think in terms of tracking it, I mean that's just an extra job for the league. I mean, there's some guys out there that spend a lot of time on, and I mean, I'm sure that there's be somebody that would be willing to go through and be like, all right, these are all the guys with our restricted free agents.
It's not hard to
No,
figure it out. You look at people who have 1 year left, and you're like, oh, he's off his rookie deal. Okay.
yeah, that's true.
But at the same time, it'd be after that last team option. That's when the RFA would be.
Yeah, and then that's also your cap hold.
Yeah, and your qualifying offer if you don't sign him.
Yeah. So you're not getting the chance to lock a guy up for like 10 years straight. This is you actually remove a year from the rookie deal,
Yeah, you make it the qualifying offer.
and then that like say, pretend Carl Anthony Towns proves out to be the best player on my team, or the guy, my main guy, and that $8 million then will become a $20 million
The
or
following
whatever.
season. Yeah,
No, it will replace the eight million
yeah,
dollars because that season.
that's the
So
qualifying offer. Yeah,
that means you're going to have a lot bigger contracts on teams than you do now.
yeah. But at the same time, it takes a wrinkle out of free agency, but not a huge wrinkle.
Yeah, because I mean most of the rookies seem to re-sign anyway,
Yeah,
unless the player, the GM specifically doesn't want them back.
or they've been traded around a bunch,
Yeah.
or if the player agent just was on his period that day.
Alrighty. Well, we're gonna leave on a period joke. Thanks for
Hot
listening.
takes.
It's
Hot
a hot take.
takes.
Some scathing interview going on here.
Dun dun dun. This is in. Steph Curry tore his Achilles.
Nuh-uh.
Yep.
You're on my ding dong.
Yep.
Alright, douche.
All right, Alex, let's make this happen. Paul George for Derrick Rose and Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Cut.